I love this cartoon. Moving on to the Nixon campaign. This is right after Richard Nixon has announced as a Republican candidate for president that he will end the war and win the peace in Vietnam. So he is rebranding himself as a dove after having supported every hawkish escalation of the war up until that point. And I think what this captures that the commentary at the time and for years afterwards didn't capture was just how impossible it would be for any of the candidates to come up with a satisfactory outcome in Vietnam. Nixon was trying to avoid saying he was going to win the war because he knew he could not do that and it would not be credible. And he really didn't have much of a plan for ending it or winning the peace, as we'll get into a little bit later. So the idea of him scrambling to sort of pull a rabbit out of a hat is perfect, I think. And I do want to draw everyone's attention to the facial expression on the rabbit, which I read as jaded, but others might take it a different way.
I found this one really curious. When I thought of the phrase tricky Dick Nixon, I never thought of a magician. I thought of someone who did other kinds of tricks. And the problem with Richard Nixon, I had always assumed, was not that he was an incompetent trickster, but that he was way too good at it.
Yeah, I guess my reaction was tricky Dick too. I study Eisenhower and I know an awful lot about the Eisenhower-Nixon relationship. And Eisenhower always thought that Nixon was too partisan and also immature. And so Nixon did try to rebrand himself when he ran that second time for president in 1967-68. There was the new Nixon, the guy who was more mature, who could poke fun at himself. Some of you may remember seeing him during the campaign on Laugh-In saying, "Sock it to me?" Only the new Nixon could do that. But what we got is another version of the trickster, this one in a magician's suit. But still, I think calls back that image of Nixon as the tricky Dick.